This episode is brought to you by Tabletop Dominion. If the antics of the circus have given you the desire to roll some dice of your own, head to tabletopdominion.com and use the code DESIRE10. I just want to know why Swayze is here. Did he summon forth this agent of hell for the revenge that he sought? The fiery demon he brought, now he denies 'twas he and just a coincidence. Suggests the fire that we lit was rather more than a bit responsible for what happened here hence. Now a friend lay slain and the man with two names puts the blame on us and speaks of consequence. And in my heart I know that there is truth in what he says, and I feel it. Oh, how I feel it! And we're here, defeated, not by enemies, but by ourselves, our actions. So conceited are the cross we bear and blood on our hands of our gnome. Actions lead to consequence and consequence to anguish. An itch but which I cannot scratch, a hunger can't be nourished, but still we live another day. Well, four of us do anyway. The adventure continues.
I did warn you during the battle. Your little friend was wearing an item that I gave him, an item that allowed me to scry on him from time to time. I knew where you were at all times. I knew what you were doing, and don't tell me how I know, I just knew that the time was coming for Daboff to pass.
Shit, was the Goncho cursed? Oh.
Are you saying, is Dweezil saying
no,
that?
No,
Stuart's
saying that. Wow.
It was there as bait. He left it there. He knew Daboff and his filthy little no-mans couldn't keep his hands off the Goncho.
Well, I mean, outside of character, he actually offered it to Daboff. He actually said something along the lines of, "I think you'll find there's something in there that you'll like," or something.
Here
like
you
that.
go. Here's a lovely little cursed cardigan for you, Daboff.
Now, excuse the dramatics, but if I may once more talk about actions and consequences.
You just hear it. No, I was gonna pretend to yawn, but that's not what Krill would do. Krill's still very sad over Daboff's body.
We can play the blame game all day. However, I came here to see him pass, and he has passed. I have no ill will to the four of you. I wish to leave now. Please do not take any actions which would require consequences. I've warned you. I have warned you more than once that you have lost one today. Do not do something that makes it two. Do not come for me. Do not look for me. I wish to leave. The next time I see you will be the last.
Wait. And you know magic far more powerful than I know. I've done what I can to try and help. Please, I beg you, help him.
You start feeling that itch again. You start feeling that itch, and it's getting pretty strong now. It's getting like you're resisting the urge to scratch at it, or certainly not in a feverish way. But it's starting to really irritate you. And you just hear, "Let him go. Let me in."
I've got phantom itch.
You actually getting it.
So, but he would. What did you say just before that? You said you know far more powerful magic than us,
Than I do.
Yeah. And what of it? What if I do know this magic?
Just help him. Come on.
This is not the time for joking, Dweezil.
Well, you speak of actions and consequences for actions, but do not believe that every action should have an equal reaction. Stealing an item from someone's house and dying for it does not seem like an equal fair trade. Perhaps the loss of an arm or a limb of some description I can get behind.
We'll let you mutilate him. Just bring him back.
As far as I can tell, he's lost all of his limbs. Anyway, if we are done, I will leave you with your corpse.
Can Greg take the cardigan off of Davos' body and go like, well, have your damn cloak back then as well? No, I'm
I
gonna
have
throw
to
it at
draw
him.
him without it now. On his little funeral pyre.
Yeah, but what I'm thinking is that he's obviously tracked us via that cloak at some point.
Yeah.
So later on, there must be a way for us to kind of almost reverse engineer it so we can track him.
Nice idea. Nice thought. Okay. So you go and strip Dab off.
Krill, not having heard the conversation, is very confused.
I hope it was very much like you see on A&E where they've like literally like a knife, they like just cut it down the middle. Like there's not even anything.
You know the tablecloth trick where you pull it off really quickly.
Yeah.
And everything stays the same. Yeah, it's that.
This is how we talk about our first character death.
If you don't laugh, you cry.
Yeah. Okay, so you're doing that? Are you taking off the
Yeah,
goncho?
I think we'll take off the goncho and chuck it at him.
He takes it and he sort of just looks at it and he just sort of like offers it back to you, sort of just like, are you sure you do not want this?
You sure you don't want my tracking device? And security camera.
Yes, we're pretty sure we don't want you tracking us for the rest of our lives. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well then, I would say it has been a pleasure, but I suspect that is only true for me. And he sort of smiles at you, and he starts walking. He starts walking off towards the south.
Okay, and as he's walking off, Greg's going to shout, "Until next time!"
Enjoy your house.
As he's walking, he sort of just waves behind, like doesn't even turn around. You sort of see the back of his hand waving, almost like he's waving to where he's going rather than waving at you.
Raises one fist like John Bender at the end of the Breakfast Club. Just walks away.
Okay, so that happens. What are you doing now? What's the rest of the party doing now? Bearing in mind that the fire is still blazing in the forest. It's not showing any signs of spreading outwards towards you. I appreciate obviously the fire probably would spread maybe to the grass, but there's not enough there for it to really catch and do any damage beyond the trees it's already on fire. I should have looked this up. It's fairly late. Obviously, it's worth remembering this all happened during the night. So I think Dabov was fourth in the queue of watch. So we're probably around 2:00 in the morning.
Okay, Quinch is gonna.
No, a bit later. Probably around 4.
She'll get a couple of hours.
Quinch looks up. Can Quinch see the moon?
Quinch can see the moon.
So he looks up. God damn it! It's always hard when you can only see the one moon. It's always much easier to navigate when you can see the second moon. How do we get to Everquirk Forest? The dark shamans will be able to revive him.
I think what we do there is we go into your imagination. We pluck out whatever imaginary place that you're chatting absolute bull about, and then we throw that idea in the river.
It's not bull. I've done it with a rodent before.
I mean, out of character, what are our intentions for Dabov now? Are we going to drag him about and try and save him, or are we accepting that he's dead and move on?
No, we're gonna.
Your eye is still very much itching.
Oh, I don't like this, Nathan. This is
What
supposed
do
to
we
be
do?
the fun D&D game where I don't get tortured.
Dweezil, what do we do?
What are you doing?
You're our leader now. Our previous leader is dead.
Perhaps we should attempt to find a teller's cellar. Maybe we'll be able to find something there that could bring him back, or at least give us some hope into bringing him back.
Do you guys not know where Everquirk Forest is? I can't get my bearings.
What are you doing?
What? Yeah, good question.
What are you? What are you doing with Dabov?
I think we'd
Stripping him off for other parts?
Nah, it'd be like military style, putting him inside his sleeping bag.
Early days, one of the very first episodes, when we decided that we would turn a goblin into a backpack?
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
He's gonna we're gonna turn him into like a wraparound for the bag of holding.
Oh, that's a good idea. Let's put him in the sleeping bag and then put the sleeping bag in the bag of holding.
It ain't like he needs oxygen.
Yeah.
While this is going on, Dweezil's eye is still very much itching, and he hears a voice again. What he hears, I have just messaged Stuart. You hear a voice inside your head. Don't panic. It isn't yours. You haven't gone mad. You aren't that crazy. I'm here to help your cause. Let me explain what I want from you and bring you up to speed. Then we can all walk away from this a happier group indeed. A gnome entered an empty house, not knowing there was a curse. Hoping it would make his life the better, instead it made it worse. He took some items resting there, thinking they were his prize, but little did he know that theft would lead to his demise. And now he lays in front of you. Death came to take his soul. The circus cannot save him now. It's out of their control. Yet, Dweezil, you could end his suffering. Just give yourself to me. I'll give Dabov another chance. I'll let them all walk free. Should you choose to ignore me, his life will end right here. Where that boy has headed, his anguish will be severe. You have in your possession some reminders of your past. Eat them now, eat everyone, from the first one to the last. Your sacrifice would bind us, you'd have access to my power. Your enemies would be no match, they'd kneel, they'd beg, they'd cower. And in return, all I ask of you is that one day you repay this debt. I'll tell you when the time comes. I won't let you forget. By the way, my name is Farinal. I'm Faye, if you hadn't guessed. I'll leave you now. Let you decide if my deal is for your best. We'll talk again. You'll save the boy. Of this I have no doubt. Bye-bye, Dweezil. I'll be in touch. This fairy's headed out.
Dweezil reaches into his bag, pulls out a handful of something that you guys can't see, and shoves it directly into his mouth.
Oh, he's doing drugs.
Well, you wouldn't have seen that.
He's right, though. I've just swallowed the entire handful of mushrooms that I had in my bag.
Oh, bloody hell.
Are you... is Dweezil doing that, like, openly? Like, is he hiding it? Is he saying anything? Is he doing anything?
Just completely lost in his own world. He's not paying attention to them now. He's only paying attention to the voice in his head.
So Krill's seen this, and he's.
So can I?
Oh, gone.
Yeah, can I have a perception? Actually, let's have a perception from the other three, just to see if you notice Dweezil doing anything.
13.
8.
12.
12. I would say that in your state of grief and confusion over what you're going to do with Dabov, none of you actually noticed that Dweezil did this.
Okay.
Even though he wasn't necessarily trying to hide it from you, I would say his actions are just not enough for you to notice anything.
Krill slumps down sort of over the body and just on his knees looks up at Greg and just says, what do we do now?
Well, I think we should take off his pack and perhaps wrap him in his sleeping bag and take him to some kind of mortuary, I guess.
I think if we truly are accepting of this and we don't want to find the dark shamans, then I think we should find a chicken coop. I think he would want to be buried or scattered there, maybe as feed for the chicken.
When you say scattered, do you mean ashes or body parts?
I don't know what his preference was.
just toes and chunks of flesh scattered.
You're not burying him. You're going to take him with you.
Take the body
Yeah,
with us,
I think we'd put it in the sleeping bag after we've like stripped the gear off of him, so he's just wearing his like plain linen or whatever they wear underneath it. You know.
He was going commando.
And then I think we would put the body in the sleeping bag over like the back of one of the horses, as you kind of see in movies.
Could fit on Sebastian. To be fair, he's not a big fella.
True. So coming
I've
to
got to
Dweezil
break
for
it to the kids. What's happened? Fuck, that's not going to be fun.
what kids?
Sebastian and Mosey.
Okay.
I thought he meant the other goats.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Good.
So
Got time for jokes.
coming back to
Someone's
Dweezil.
died.
Dweezil, once you shoveled all that in, what have you been doing since?
I've taken
Tripping balls, really, isn't it?
I've taken the sobriety token out from inside my armour, and I've just been kind of flipping it between my fingers, and then I turn around, wind my arm back, and just let out a massive shout and throw the sobriety token into the fire.
Okay. Once you ate all the mushrooms, by the way, that intense itching from your face disappeared.
Herbal medicine, isn't it? Homeopathy. Yeah. Homeopathy. It's natural. Legalise it. So
your itching face and your fuzzy headiness is gone. You obviously do what you did. However, nothing happens on you consuming the mushrooms. You sort of perhaps you expected some sort of miracle and Dabov to sit up, but the reality is, aside from the rest of the party discussing who's getting the immovable rod, the only things that's really sort of invading your senses are the sound and the smell of the fire, and perhaps somewhere in the distance just a lonely cry of some sort of animal of unknown source of origin.
It's obviously Sebastian crying. Come on.
Sebastian's holding back the tears, mate.
He doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. I'll break it to him later.
Yeah. So as I say, it's about 4:00 in the morning while this is all going on. Are you trying to get some more sleep, or?
Sam and Krill are both mentally fucked, like not knowing, like, what do we do? Like, metagaming. I feel like, oh, there must be a way to bring him back or something to that effect. But at the same time, Krill would want to be respectful and lay him to rest at the earliest opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, if we're playing in character, I don't think we'd go back to sleep either. You've just been in a massive battle when your party's died. There's no way you're just going to go, you know what, I'm going to get another couple of hours. But
also the idea of just getting on the horses and heading anywhere, like any direction that we had.
Yeah, but no,
is sort of lost almost in the tragedy of the moment. Like,
yeah, but then you just go through the thing of doing actions for the sake of doing actions, wouldn't you?
Krill's motivation to do anything is gone. I mean, he doesn't know this, but Dweezil's pretty defeated by it all. And yeah, I mean, like Krill is going to almost turn to the group and ask. So, what's next for the circus?
Well, first let's put our former companion to rest. May he dine with the gods, and I guess we should continue our quest on, as hard as that may be. I feel that's what you'd want us to do.
Dweezil, should we dig a grave?
I think Dweezil's just going to shrug, say nothing, just turn and walk away.
Dweezil.
I think that we need to move on to the next town and gather our thoughts. Take his body, decide what to do with him.
Yes, that and the fire here is getting rather close, so perhaps we should move rather swiftly.
Yeah, I'm slightly worried about the slight burning smell. I wonder if it's the horse's hair.
I sort of stupidly, whether you believe, like, I don't know, however you feel about it, I'm going to sort of gather the animals together, all the horses, old and new, Sebastian as well, and just I must let you know that Daboff, our companion, our friend, has died. He's passed on. I'm so sorry.
We're just seeing Krill neighing.
and then he's doing the goat.
No, I think
Not
they
doing
understand.
the goat.
No time like the present, I suppose.
I think they understand me speaking in my normal, and then yeah. I mean, I don't expect you to do responses.
No. I mean, they're all really hit quite hard with it. I mean, they are literally lost for words. They don't know what to say, and they just realise that
I'd appreciate it if you'd say something.
No,
I mean,
the only one I like.
Is Kevin okay, or?
He's just crying.
That's weird, because
horses
I
do cry.
usually understand what you say, but that just sounded like horse.
Well, he was answering Dweezil. And what it's in fact, Doss sort of poignantly reads like some sort of very fitting Yeats.
What might they sound like?
Oh, fare thee well, passenger, on your eternal journey through the everlasting afterlife, or something along those lines.
all right, to speed this up, I think we'll make like a caravan of all the animals, and we'll lead them away from our current place towards the nearest town.
Okay, so you setting off straight away, or
Yeah,
are you gonna just?
I think it's only right that we put Dabov on. Who's this horse?
Is it Kevin?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put Dabov on Kevin for one final time potentially. Make sure he's secure.
Quint, before leaving, Quinch just inspects the ground where he died, and he's going to grab a handful of dirt.
Well, you know what they say about people shitting themselves when they die. You think it's dirt, but you end up with some gnome shit. No, that's not true, because you'll put that in your inventory probably.
Sounds
already
useful.
there. It's already there.
Couple of nuggets of
Nuggies.
no feces. Nuggies, yeah.
I mean,
No,
Does the secret
what are you
recipe
doing?
die with him?
Well, maybe. What? I think the recipe was something along the lines of take a chicken, smash it, and add some breadcrumbs. I think that was I think it was something along those lines. Quinch, sorry, what are you doing? You're grabbing some.
Yeah, I'll grab a handful of dirt and I'll put it in. I'll just pop it I'll rub it all over my wooden spoon for now.
Right.
I mean,
Sure.
question for either of the barbarians. There is
the brazier,
a
the
mace on the floor. I guess one of you would be
Is it- I mean,
using it.
you said the guy was
It's
absolutely
giant.
huge. Like,
Yeah, it's
It's a lamppost,
Bear in mind,
essentially, isn't
the
it?
head of it is a fire brazier, which is about that big.
so it's a lamppost.
Basically, yeah,
Okay. Yeah. No. I will.
sawn-off lamppost.
I will leave that.
Put it in the bag of holding.
I mean, it's still going to be
set
ready.
off-
Like, yeah. No, that's fine. We'll leave that.
Before we set off, inspiration for all of you.
Wow.
Wait.
Any particular reason?
There was some lovely role playing in there. I appreciate some of you might even, if you've got it, then tell you what, I'm going to break the rules a little bit. Just have a little cheeky one, just for this once. Just have a cheeky second one if you've already got one.
Wow.
Just this once.
Stacked.
Don't expect it.
So if you didn't have one, we get 2, right?
No.
Worth a shot.
What happens if Davos has one? Does that go on to one of us instead?
Yeah, someone's got his one.
I've already pickpocketed his inspiration.
Okay.
Yeah, you also get all of his ability scores. They all get added on top of yours.
Oh,
You just
nice.
sort of just stack up and up and top until you're a god. Okay.
I like picturing
So-
Greg with like
That's why.
Arnie's body.
That's why
That'd be
Crow
great.
killed all the kids. Got all their stats.
Right. So you take the time to very delicately and lovingly tie Dabov to his horse. You get all the rest of the animals together, pack up your stuff, get yourself ready to set off. And you set off towards Silvery Moon, which was the next place of the next port of call. You may have not looked at the map this time, although I suspect you probably would have, because obviously you would have been navigating. But you recall that you stopped about a day's ride away from the town anyway, from the city itself. You set off, and everything's going quite well. But then, approximately an hour into your journey, Dweezil, suddenly the mushrooms hit you
Here we go.
very hard.
Yeah.
You hear something from behind you, and you just look over your shoulder, and what you see is 2 things. Firstly, you see Dabov. But the other thing, which is quite surprising, is despite the fact that you've been riding for about an hour, the forest is like right up by you. Like it's almost like you haven't stepped hoof away from where you began. Dabov is just there, completely like the last time you saw him, still goncho covered, and he looks at you before a big lick of fire comes out and essentially burns him to ash, and he disappears. Ash of Dabov floats away on the night sky. What follows that is then an incredibly intense pain in your stomach, followed by that pain rising and you vomiting, and you fall off the horse and you lay on the ground unconscious.
He did fall off the horse, didn't he? Figuratively and literally.
Dweezil, you pass out on the ground.
As we were travelling, would he have been front or back?
Let's retcon that and see what would the party have? How would the party have ridden?
He's always front.
No, I'd have been at the back. My head's gone.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Greg would have been leading the party as the most adulty one.
Yeah. Can I perception if I'd have heard him fall?
Yeah. Bearing in mind it's quite quiet out, night time and all that.
Did he vomit on the horse?
You're not scooping the vomit.
Right, let's luck. Actually, I'll let Dweezil roll this one. Stuart, can you roll me a d20? 1 to 10, he didn't vomit on the horse. 11 to 20, he did.
2.
2, he didn't vomit on the horse, I'm afraid. Quinch.
No, don't say afraid. You know, it's just good to know where the vomit is.
Sorry, Krill.
I rolled a 14.
A 14. You heard a noise behind you. Yeah, you heard like a big slump and something.
Okay, yeah, I'll have turned to see.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, you're riding at night. There's no one else out on the road. There's very few animals, if any, that are doing anything at this time of night. So the noise of something just falling off a horse would make you curious, even if you didn't know what it was.
Okay, so yeah, I've heard him fall. I've turned. I've seen him. Instantly gonna just turn around on the horse, head back to him, hop off. Is he? I'm assuming he's prone. He's not sat up, or
He's just his face. He's sort of on his side. I'm just trying to think how you would end up. He's sort of on his side, but his front.
So I sort of roll him over and check on him. Obviously, like the last time he tried to check if somebody needed a hand up, his friend had died. But yeah, so this time he's sort of panicking a little bit. He can see and smell the sick, I imagine.
Yeah, roll a medicine check.
A 9.
9. It's enough for you to realise he's alive. So you at least aren't worried about the fact that he's died.
Okay, I'll give him a few, like traditional little slap to the face, little gentle, just to almost just to roll to hit for that. No, just checking if he's awake, like trying to stir him, reaching into my satchel, getting some water, splashing, like flicking some water on his face.
Do you want Quinch's spoon if you're trying to stir him?
God. It's not a time for jokes. Somebody has died, MJ. Yeah, so no.
Like MJ's jokes.
Yeah.
You're right, a fucking a go.
You do all of that, and Dweezil does not wake up. The one thing you would notice as you're doing it is that you might hear the occasional like whimper or murmur from Dweezil, and you can see his eyes like are literally just full REM, like they are just going like havoc, like all over the place. Like he's just he's for want of a better word in some sort of not a trance, but certainly
off his tits.
Basically, yeah, he's fucking mash,
as the cool kids say.
Yeah, it's still 96, right? We're still back in the 1990s, are we?
Yeah, 96. I was a year old.
Yeah, and you were on tits probably at that point.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, less about my mother's breasts.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I don't really know. I mean, I shout for the attention of. I mean, we've lost our two most sensible people. One's dead and one's spangled.
Spangled. Oh, well, there you go. That's a word I've learnt today.
Yeah, spangled.
Star Spangled Banner makes a lot of sense about America.
Just lost half my listener base.
Geopolitical commentary there.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of how, like, since losing Dabble, I'm just lost of what to do. I just shout for the others. Just shout, Greg Quinch, Dweezil's dying.
What?
Circle back.
What the bloody hell is happening?
He's not dying. You see how his eyes are fluctuating? He's having a bad trip, man.
He wouldn't do drugs. Really well. What are you talking about? He's got his sobriety chip.
He might have his sobriety chip, but I'm telling you, he's obviously taken something.
No, he's been hexed. Swayze's done this. What's happened?
You can see on Dweezil's brow, like he is quite a lot of beads of sweat. Like,
oh god, he's sweatier than we were in the glades of clending.
He's hot to touch as well.
Oh, this man needs some coffee in him to sober him up prompt. I'll get right on it.
Starts building the fire, boiling the kettle.
Quinch gets out one of his vials of perfume and just dashes a little bit on his fingers, and he just sort of rubs his fingers.
He's using like bath
mashes his
salts under
fingers.
his nose, like
Yeah, sort of mashes his fingers on Dweezil's nostrils.
Okay. You do that and nothing happens.
Just quickly in the background, sort of Krill's stepped away from the body. He's just beside himself at the thought of losing another one of his companions, his friends, his family in the space of what would have been a few hours, and he is just what's the word? What's it?
Inconsolable.
Inconsolable?
Erect, yeah.
What was it? Inconsolable. Yeah.
Iridescent.
Can I check to see if I know what he's taken?
Yeah, if you give me
You taste the sick.
Oh,
Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, what are you doing?
I guess he'd be kind of doing like a medical check on him, as in like checking if his like pupils are dilated, see if he's like vomited anything up by looking in like the vomit on the floor.
Okay, so yeah, you do that. So give me a medicine check then, please.
It's like when you finger dab some cocaine, but with Dweezil puke.
It's a natty 20, boys and girls.
Oh,
Rubs it into the gums.
Also, I just have to say, big props to MJ and Quinch for not putting his finger in Dabble's mouth.
I mean, that could probably work, to be fair. Just make him throw it all up.
I mean, if I'd have passed the perception check earlier for seeing him shovel the mushrooms in his mouth, my plan was 100%.
Oh wait,
hold
on.
My
did you
big
say dab
green
off?
meaty fingers down his throat to make him throw up.
Yeah. You said
So,
dab off. I just got that. I was like,
I mean, to be fair, I was feeding Dabov some nuggies. I can't guarantee that a little fingertip didn't slip in there. I'm a creature of habit.
Greg, back to you. Your medicine, your beautiful 20 on your medicine check. You look at Dweezil, and the first thing you notice is the dilated pupils. You can't really get anything else off of him, but when you do look at the sick, you do see some undigested mushroom pieces in there, and knowing Dweezil's past and knowing what you guys received when you fought the fire giants back in Tribor, you put two and two together and realise that Dweezil has eaten some. You don't know how many, but has eaten some fey mushrooms.
okay. Do I know if they are like deadly, if you consume too many of them or anything like that? Or does it look like he's about to die, or if he's just having like a bad time?
You don't know enough. Roll me a nature. Go for a nature.
11 overall. So.
11. You don't know well enough, but what you do know is that you see a fair few chunks in the vomit, and you're sort of hopeful that even if he has tried to consume too many, that they're not in his system, and hopefully that's a good sign that he's going to pull through. He certainly doesn't looking at him with your medicine check, you don't get the sense that right now that he looks like he's dying or anything like that. Obviously things can change, but right now he seems very much like he's still awake, still alive, and just in a bad state.
Quench, you've obviously been with him quite some time, and I know you say he's got his sobriety chip, but I'm afraid to tell you he's slipped back into some bad habits by the looks of it. May I ask what you used to do when he used to get in such a state? How would you care for him?
Canonically, before you answer that, I believe
They weren't together, were they?
They weren't. No. It was Quinch that pulled him out of that, wasn't it, Stuart?
Correct.
Yep.
Correct. So I've seen Dweezil on the edge before. I've seen him. I've seen him at the staring down the barrel of temptation, and I've been able to pull him away from it. I've been able to stop that from happening, and even in times of grief, It was a particularly bad gambling session that we had, a game of rolling dice around a tavern table, and we lost.
Where was that?
My memory actually is a little bit hazy on this one, but I think it was Bones.
I'm sorry. I don't really care for where you were. Or
I
what
care
game you're
for where.
playing.
I believe
Somebody might be drawing a map.
I believe it was Bones Bazoir. It's a shabby little sort of shore town. Anyway, we were around the table and we lost some dignity. There was a sort of strip sessions happening, and essentially Dweezil just couldn't really cope with what was happening. We lost money, we lost clothes, we lost dignity, and this was probably the darkest point that I saw Dweezil. It's what I can only call grief. But still then he did not turn. He did not break his sobriety. He didn't break his soberness. And I just can't believe he would do this. I just can't believe it.
So where did I get it back?
What?
The 5 minutes that it took you to explain that you don't know.
Can't you have a coffee or something? You're being a bit cranky.
Yeah, to be fair, it's worth noting, actually, I should have said, none of you've had a full night's sleep. So theoretically, none of you you're all probably
I'm pretty
you're
battered,
all
to be
exhausted.
fair.
Yeah, exhausted.
Greg, have you...
Which means that arguably you don't get any of your stuff back either.
Greg, have you got a Crimson Bullock? I don't know how far away we are from the next town.
I mean, I've started boiling some coffee over there. I'll be fine in a minute. Sorry about that, Blue.
Okay. So, let's say this, right? So, Greg's done enough. Are you looking to travel with Dweezil on tow again?
I'm going to jump in and say he's in no fit state to travel. We should camp out and rest up for the night and move on in the morning.
Thank you so much for listening to Dice and Desire. If you were...
Hello.
Quinch, what are you doing here?
I thought I'd help out with the promo.
No, Quint, no, come on. You're just going to talk about random place names that don't exist.
No, I wasn't. I was going to talk to you about my adventures in Valaquanth, the very best that the Tendering Meadows has to offer.
God, if you have to be here, at least read this out.
Okay, what have we got here? Leave us a review on Apple or Podchaser.
Oh, yeah, it was fine. It's pronounced Apple, but that was fine. Now read this bit.
You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Just search Dice and Desire.
I'm actually very surprised that was all pronounced correctly. Thanks, Quinch. Thank you guys for listening. Do exactly as Quinch said and help us out in those various ways. And we look forward to sharing another episode with you very soon.
We're going to give it another go. It's a bit more zing. A bit of zing. Zing. Yeah. Ready? Hello. With a hello. No.
Hello.
Wait till I get through the whole thing. Ready? Hello with a billowing hilltop.
Hello.
Oh dear. Waiting to get through the whole thing. No. I mean,
I thought that was the whole thing.
The whole thing is hello with a billowing hilltop. Okay. That's the whole thing. Yeah?
Okay. That was right.
That pretty much sums up the show. But if you want to find out any more, you can visit us at www.billowinghilltop. Is it com? Does anybody know?
.org.
Is it?
It's .com.
What do we do? What do we play?
There's monsters.
Does anybody remember?
Walking around.
I don't know.
And, yeah.
We will be delighted if you were to join us around our table as we play Dungeons. Is it 5th edition? Hello?
Yeah, we think so.
Yeah. Yes. We play Dungeons and Dragons.
In the background? Sorry, that was me.
What was that noise in the background? There will be noises in the background as we play Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition through the classic Paizo adventure path, The Age of Worms. You can expect this. No! Quite a bit of this.
I'm completely lost.
This. This.
Got a bugbear in my underpants.
And one of these.
Oh dear.
We're on Apple Podcasts, and we're on Spotify, and we're on TuneIn, and you can find us on Twitter, and you can find us on Facebook. And we hope you join us. Thanks very much.